Good evening. You're watching Latino Talk TV. I'm your host, Jose Luis Jimenez.
And my name's Enrique Arana, and I'm a guest host today.
And Rob Arteaga, counselor.
My name's Jose Rivera. With Neighborhood Centers, I'm a community developer.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I hope you're having a good evening out there. If you're watching the show right now, we're broadcasting live, truly live right now. The phone number will be on the screen shortly. We want you to interact with us. We actually want you to participate. If you have any questions that come up, pick up the phone and call us. But today's show is going to be very special. We're actually going to talk about what's going on in the north side of Houston, something I hold very dear to my heart because that's where I grew up. So if you know anything about Houston, you know everything that happens is in the north side. Well, except for this is in the east end. So I got to throw it out there, right? But no, we have some great leaders all over the place. But right now on the north side, it's really it's revitalizing. We have the neighborhood centers has really invested a lot of talent and a lot of effort to really organize the community. But before we get into all that, we're going to talk about what's going on out in the news right now. So guys, what's going on out there? Anybody got any good stories?
Well, I think we can all worry about the weather. Once ice and cold weather hits Houston, it's game over for a lot of people. Yeah, we lose it. So I would recommend for a lot of people, if you have to drive tomorrow, do not drive because it's going to be very, very terrible. So stay home until it clears out.
You saw it here first. It's gonna freeze tomorrow. Everybody's gonna have to stay home and watch TV and drink champurrado and pan dulce. That's what we gotta do.
Tell them the guys at Latino Talk TV told you so.
That's right.
Exclusive first. It's gonna freeze tomorrow, and by 9 o'clock the sun is out and you go back to work.
That's right. Well, cruise ships again on the news. Now they had 300 people that got sick, a stomach virus that affected 300 passengers, and the Center for Disease Control is now on the ship trying to figure out what happened. So how do you guys feel about cruise ships now?
I don't do cruises. You do cruises?
I haven't actually been on a cruise other than being a military brat and my dad being in the Navy. So I rode in a Tiger cruise when I was very young, but never a cruise of any sort. I hear good things, but then you hear these stories and you're like, yes or no, or
they've been hit pretty hard. Didn't they have something else happen about a year or two ago where they had to, come back after a couple days?
The ship broke down or something.
Yeah, they were stranded, weren't they?
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have any money invested in any of these cruise ships right now because my stock will be dropping left and right. I mean,
would probably be a good time to book one because those prices are probably going to be coming down again.
Yeah.
And from what I understand,
I think everything else comes down too. No, I'll leave that one out.
But they're pretty affordable from what I understand, and I know a couple coworkers that have been, and they say they have a blast, and it's not too expensive, but I feel like it's kind of hit and miss, right? It's just you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Might
like
have an engine that goes out.
You ever seen those statistics that the flight is actually the safest way to travel,
Yeah.
But we only hear about when one comes down or something bad happens. We don't hear about all the other good ones that, of course, that are out there. So I don't know. I'll hold off on the cruise ship. I mean, I like boats, but I'd rather just take a boat like in the Galveston area, from one side or the other.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
The ferry's good for you.
The ferry's good enough for me.
10 minutes.
But start one side, go to the other.
Yeah.
See the dolphins on the side. I'm good.
Mini cruise.
You hear Gary Kubiak got another job?
Ravens, is that right?
Baltimore Ravens.
He got picked up very quickly.
Yeah, and watch the Ravens go to the Super Bowl next year with Gary Kubiak as defensive coordinator.
Just like
that's just the way it works.
Went to Tennessee, right?
They do terrible while they're here, and then they go and do wonderful somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's freaking ironic. I don't know how that happens, but hopefully I got great expectations for the Texans next year. I think we got a big loyal fan base in Houston, so I'm excited. I'm always rooting for the team, and I'm originally from Dallas, so
I'm
being
sorry,
in Texans, I'm a convert. I'm a convert
okay.
now, so I'm a Houston Texan now. So,
Finally, a smart Texan out there. He left Dallas and came to Houston the way it's supposed to be. You're in Dallas, I'm sorry. Watch all my Dallas customers leave me now.
I hope.
You love Dallas.
He hates Dallas. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the NSA's back on the news, not for something good again.
What do they do now?
Well, some of the Edward Snowden documents were suggesting that the NSA is gathering data from smartphone apps. So I don't know about how you guys feel about the whole privacy issue and the NSA. Do you guys mind it? Do you guys think it's necessary? Is it an invasion of privacy?
I think it's a big invasion of privacy. You know, it's getting down to not only what you're doing, but also what your subscriptions to companies are doing and tracking you that way. And I don't know, that's very scary.
That's
and that I think that's a complete violation of our Constitution.
It was user ID information, some travel arrangement stuff that was being picked up amongst other information.
I think that's going beyond the line. It's been crossed, and some actions need to be taken.
It's kind of becoming where is the line of safety and privacy and your personal freedoms? You know, where is that middle of the road? Because it's getting so much more extreme and extremer. You know, I personally, you know, it's troublesome. It's kind of like that movie Minority Report. You know, it's becoming to that. You know, that you're being tracked everywhere and everything. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Well, Big Brother's always watching. You know that already.
I feel a whole lot easier thinking they're already looking through my stuff. If they're doing something good, like stopping some terrorist acts, I think it's okay. I mean, frankly, there's not much they're going to find in my stuff. Where am I going to meet my friends for dinner tonight or something, you know?
But Rob, what happens if they put you on a blacklist without you even knowing? And then you try to fly, and next thing you know, they're holding you at security gate and then questioning you, and you can't board your flight. You can't travel abroad. You can't travel to any other state because somehow you've been placed on a blacklist. What do you do then?
I'll be outraged then.
Actually, that's happened to me.
It's happened to
me. I was some reason. Jose is somewhat common. I mean, every 4 gentlemen, there's 2, right? There's 2 Jose's in a room at all times.
Latinos are Jose.
Yeah, so you know, my name was on a watch list, and I had to go through extra clearances. I was even detained coming back. You know, I was with my wife visiting her family from Nicaragua. That was scary. You just get pulled aside like nothing, and it's like, what did I do?
Random check.
Yeah.
And there have been cases where little babies and kids have been placed on those blacklists, and no one really understands why or how they have been placed on those lists. And good luck trying to get off those lists because it is not easy.
For several years, I mean, I'm prior service military. I served honorably. I left, you know, honorably. I didn't leave in a bad term or anything. And for several years, every time I'd go to the airport, no matter if I reserved it the day before or months before, every time, sir, you got selected for a random check.
A random check.
Every time. And it's like I was already ready. I already had my shoes off, belt off. It's like, go ahead, search me.
Jose's are just trouble. I don't know.
You know, it's just it's Jose. You know,
Jose.
and he finally somebody said, you know, you're on the watch list. And it's like, well, how many Jose Jimenez's live in Houston? I mean, have you checked the phone book? I mean, have you Googled the name Jose Jimenez? It was like everything comes up.
Yeah.
Actually, last time I checked the phone book was probably like 15, 20 years ago, but.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're right.
The digital phone book online.
Have you Googled it lately? No, I'm just kidding.
You just mentioned something that I think a lot of people do. Google themselves. Have you guys Googled yourself?
No, not really.
I'm pretty anonymous on Google.
I'm not that vain. I mean,
I Googled myself yesterday just to see what would come up. And you'd be surprised what shows up. If you're on LinkedIn, you're going to pop up on LinkedIn. It'll find your Facebook, any websites you're associated to. And, you know, that's another privacy setting. You know, it's kind of along the same topic. But how much are you putting out there for the world to see?
Well, I think a good rule to live by is don't post anything that you wouldn't want other people to find out.
That's
true. Don't post anything.
I mean. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I live consider a semi-public life. I mean, I'd like to express myself. If you see me on Facebook or LinkedIn or anything, I'll tell you how it is. You know, I figured this is who I am. Might as well just be the same person everywhere, right?
Yep.
But it is kind of interesting when I go to the mall or something and, hey, you're that insurance guy, or you're that guy on Facebook, and your daughter's so beautiful. Or like, okay.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, I guess. You know? But you just kind of get to that point. It's like, okay, well, it's good because you're all the network, because everybody knows each other. But after a while, you have to put some boundaries on certain things.
Sure.
Like,
everything's blurring with them.
Yeah.
With technology and social media and everything else.
Yeah. Like for me, I'll post my business address and all that information all day long. But my personal home, all that information, that's off limits for me.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. It's difficult. But we were talking about limits on the NSA and things like that, right? In reality, but think about it. Facebook is free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing in this world is free. LinkedIn is free.
Free for us to use, but the exchange is our personal information that they come back and use to target ads. And I mean, I go back and forth on how much I express myself, how much I post, but I think that ads are going to be there regardless. I think that it's much better whenever I get targeted ads that actually matter to me than just get random stuff like we used to when we watched TV for hours in the old days.
No, as a businessman, I'll be honest with you, I advertise on Facebook.
Sure.
And it is actually pretty economical to find a very targeted, niche of potential clientele. So for a business person, I think the services that Facebook has provided has been very, very helpful.
Is it effective?
Actually, it has been. It actually has been, surprisingly. And I do get a lot of referrals and things like that out of Facebook, and it really does help out when someone says, "Hey, call this guy," or people have conversations online these days, and names get thrown around, So, but it is also, this is a double-edged sword, because as much as they talk good about you, they also can talk bad about you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, so you guys got to be cautious about it.
Have you managed those cases?
So far, I haven't. I handle all my personal promotions online. I do my own deal for the business that I have. But it can be a bit difficult, because in the world that I'm in, either they love you or they hate you. Most of the time they hate you, and it's just the way the nature of the beast.
But I've heard actually studies that show that people will trust more somebody that posts positive and negative feedback on your business online. So I think that it's a great tool to be able to show people, look, this is how I've responded to these negative feedback, and that way, to me, at least if I'm looking for some sort of service, it's going to give me a whole lot more confidence knowing how did this person handle a tough situation.
Yeah, I've done some of those. Like I've had some situations where it just didn't work out for everybody. I just, I wish I could do this for everybody, but I can't.
Right.
Some win, some lose. It's just the way the nature of the beast, So, but oh well, life goes on, right?
Right.
So all right, so who's buying the champurrado tonight?
Chocolate abuelita.
I think that's
Pan
in
dulce.
order.
Anything else going on in the news? Anything major? Oh yes.
Whoa.
Smokers? Any smokers here?
Nope.
Nobody wants to admit it? Okay, good. Your wife won't kill you. No. We actually have the city of Houston and the Harris County Housing Authority, one of the two, is actually banning smoking inside public housing. What do you think about that? Good or bad?
Well, if my house is being paid for by somebody else, I think it's just like back when I'm living at home. I'm going to have to live by my parents' rules. If somebody else is providing that for me, I think that those are the rules. If they're setting it forth.
You almost consider it like a park or a public meeting space, right? You ban it everywhere except for designated areas. But I don't think it's that crazy in policy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like where we're headed everywhere else. I mean, just about every building is a smoke-free zone now, and especially in those kind of spaces. If you go to a hotel, smoke-free as well. And if you get caught, it's a big fine, because there's a lot of cleanups costs, maintenance. So if they turn over tenants, I mean, that's another fee. So considering it's a public space, I would imagine, that helps cost reduction, and usually the public's pretty supportive of that. So, I mean, it's a needed service to be able to have a safe space for people to live, but at the same time, how do you have rules and regulations and be cost effective at the same time?
I'm actually surprised that this isn't just now going into effect, because you think about when you've rented in the past, usually it's non-smoking.
That's true.
It's in the lease, and they tell you that this apartment is non-smoking. If you do, there will be a substantial fee, because there's tools to find that stuff. So I'm actually really surprised that it's just now becoming piece in policy for Houston.
So the private sector is barely catching. I mean, the public sector is barely catching up to the private sector.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Right. Tell me how you really feel about the public sector.
But what percentage of people who live in public housing actually smoke? I guess that's a better question. What's the percentage of people who live there and smoke
I
versus
have
not?
no idea.
Well, if I was a smoker and living in public housing, I could see how that would, be troubling, or it would get me out of my comfort zone. But those are the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get subsidized or something, you're gonna have to.
You gotta pay
You gotta
somehow.
pay. You gotta do
Nothing's
something.
free.
Nothing's free in this world, including the airtime and the time that we're spending with you right now. You're probably saying, "What am I watching?" No, I'm just kidding. No, in all seriousness, I'm really glad you're out there. We want you to be safe. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about neighborhood centers, especially this one, Leonel Castillo Neighborhood Centers in the north side. If you haven't heard about it, you're about to, and you're going to be really excited about what's going on in the community right there, okay? You're watching Latino Talk TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Latino Talk TV right here, broadcasting live out of Houston Media Source in the east end of Houston, Texas. Now we're going to get into what's going on at the Neighborhood Centers, Leonel Castillo Center in the north side of Houston. Mr. Rivera, Jose Rivera, is actually the community organizer. Great title, but actually he does a lot more than that. I'm going to let him tell you what the center is all about, and then we're going to get into some of the programs that are going on there. So tell us about how this center came about.
Well, actually, this property is originally the old Robert E. Lee Elementary School, and it originally opened in 1922. It shut down in 2000, and since then the community has been working hard in the north side to get that property back as a community space. Around 2009, 2010, Commissioner Sylvia Garcia had purchased the property, and they had funds. It's actually a Harris County property, so it was purchased by the county, and they pushed forward to construct it under Commissioner Mormon. So our partnership came about is that they had the cost for construction, but not for operation. So that's how neighborhood centers became involved and part of the new Leonel J. Castillo Community Center.
How long has neighborhood centers been around for?
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years.
Actually,
wow.
Ripley House is the first. It was a settlement house.
I did not know.
And so right here down the street off of Navigation, 4410 Navigation is where the first community center started. So Leonel Castillo is actually one of 7 community centers. I also manage a community center in Independence Heights, but we're really excited about this new community center. It's the old school on the hill, as a lot of folks remember it when it was Robert E. Lee Elementary. And we have a lot of pride for folks coming back. We get alumnus every day visiting the center and just checking out the transformation that the community has been able to bring into fruition.
Great. So what kind of services could the community come in and benefit from at the center?
Sure. Since our opening in November 2013, just a few short months ago, we've been working hard to identify and develop programming for the community. So we actually have programming from youth to adults to seniors. So one of our focuses is actually becoming an intergenerational community center. What that means is actually a space that we could have cross-generational programming from youth to seniors. We're actually working with Temple University. They have a intergenerational studies center at Temple, and we've been partnering, and we're actually starting an intergenerational council. So from that, we're looking to tie in from our youth initiatives to seniors. Like one of the things that we're looking to work on is doing a technology mentoring program with our teens. We have a lot of teens from Jeff Davis. They're pretty savvy with those phones and technology. So we're going to link them up with some of our seniors, or as we like to refer, like St. Patrick's group, Young at Heart. And that's one of the things that is going to be kind of neat, the cross mentoring, the cross collaboration, but being just a community space available for the folks in the North Side and the near North Side community. But we have a variety of programs, from like I said, youth to adults. We have ballet. Tonight we have breakdancing as well, which we're really excited about. Our instructor, Anthony Silva, is actually been performing with the Rockets since, the mid-2000s.
Wow.
He's very, very, well-versed in his talents, and we're really excited about that. And actually, the ballet was originally a volunteer instructor. She's a counselor at Lone Star College. And she, that's the fun thing about our community centers is it's a mix of volunteers, creative community folks, and we have different partners that we work with throughout at all our centers to be able to bring resources and different opportunities for our families.
So does it cost anything to join these programs? Like how would, if I wanted to
Learn ballet?
Yeah, learn ballet, for example, or be part of this.
Well, if you want to be a b-boy.
Yeah, if I wanted to learn breakdancing, like how would I sign up?
Okay.
And would I have to pay anything?
Yes. Well, we strive not to turn anybody away. So we work with all families, but we do have a fee structure. For students and seniors, we have a membership it's the one for the year. It's $35 for the year.
Okay.
And then for a family, which is 2 adults and all the children in the household, is $125.
For the year.
For the year, which it's a very affordable.
Wow.
It's very attainable. I mean,
And they get access to.
they get access to all our classes. Yes. I mean, like I said, those were just some of the youth classes.
Yeah.
We have a 5-day-a-week team program rolling out, and actually this Friday we're having a community teen social. On Mondays we're having a youth council. We're working with the Go Neighborhood. If you're not familiar with Go Neighborhoods, they're a part of LISC, and they help build community capacity and building voices and leaders in our community. So we're actually working with our Go Youth initiative to be part of our youth council. And the youth council is going to be our teenage leaders in the community. They're going to be the ones that help, are engaged in volunteering, helping create programs. At neighborhood centers, we really work at our community centers to really engage the community. It's not a one-way transaction. We don't do programs just to do programs. We try to make a partnership. I personally don't view our members as clients. I view them as a partner in working together to make that community center a second home. So if you haven't been to our community centers, I mean, they're pretty inviting, they're very welcoming, and that's on purpose because our goal is to really strive to make a creative, accessible space and not just be about, like a traditional social service agency, and give opportunity and be able to connect our families to different new things.
Very nice.
Well, I'm gonna throw something out there. He won't do it because he's very humble and modest. But I personally think that the strength of the centers is really in the passion that's provided by the leader and his team. If you haven't had a chance to go visit a truly passionate team of dedicated community organizers, I invite you to come out and visit their centers. So, I mean, everyone on the team is just so gung-ho about helping the community. It's very enlightening. It's so positive. Even from the Independence Heights Center where I first met you, I mean, I've known you for several years, but when you started getting back involved, so kudos to you and your team and how active they are. Tell us about what's going on at Independence Heights. Because there's 2 centers nearby, but they both have 2 different lifestyles, right?
Yes. No,
worlds.
I actually got my start at Independence Heights, and shortly after I found out I was going to be having the opportunity to manage this wonderful new center. But Independence Heights is a great community center, and you're exactly right. You're as strong as your team and the folks that are passionate about the work that we do. You know, at Independence Heights, we have ESL. We're actually starting GED classes. We've been working with the community, trying to partner with the local churches to really build leadership capacity in the neighborhood. One of the big struggles is creating community advocates and developing the next generation of folks that are going to be involved, knowing how to contact an elected official, knowing what CIP is about trying to get projects for their community. So we've been working with the Independence Heights Collaborative Action Committee, ICHCAC. It's a collaborative that we helped foster and start along with many other stakeholders. So it's a mix of community stakeholders and partners. And we're really excited because next month we're actually starting a leadership program with Texans Together and actually doing a 6-week training with our families and community members, so they could be part of this group. And you know, we're looking to do service projects, get them engaged at the community center as well. But we also, one of the neat things at that community center was originally a Houston Food Bank location, so we have a full commercial kitchen. So we have a kitchen incubator. So I'm really enjoy the kitchen incubator, which because you know, we're cultivating and giving support. This is not only for my belly.
10 pounds later, I do too. I enjoy that incubator too.
But we have a mix of caterers. We have folks that make different food products. Actually, we had 2 food trucks that started a year or 2 ago. It was on Bum B's top list of food trucks, and they made 2 of the top 100 in the country, which was Itsy Boys, which is open a brick and mortar, and Oh My Gogi, which is now in Rice Village. They have a pretty popular food truck. But you know, it's a mix of folks that sell at Urban Harvest, at your local farmers markets, and even, you know, one of my favorites is Mama Tang's, which they make an Asian marinade dressing. They actually started really small. It's a family business, and they actually have expanded at HEBs. I think they're expanding this year to 400 HEBs, all done in a community kitchen.
That's incredible.
So business incubation is something that we're really trying to build and build capacity in. And we're really hoping that, you know, we're engaging. So actually, you know, with Independence Heights, you know, along with that, we have our fitness classes for adults and youth, just like we do at Leonel Castillo. And you know, it's just a great hybrid of a bunch of different things. And we also have kids meals that's actually housed out of there. We have partnerships at our centers too, and kids meals actually a preschool Meals on Wheels program. And they're actually one of the original tenants at the center. So a lot of great work being done.
We actually have a caller on the line. We want to welcome the caller. Caller, you're live on the air. Thanks for calling in. Who am I speaking with?
This is Joseph.
Caller?
My name is Joseph. I'd like to ask Jose.
You gonna pick up the volume over here? Can't hear him in here. Are you there?
Can you hear me now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear him.
Hello?
No.
Hello? 1, 2, 3,
Call
4.
back. If you're watching the show, please call us back right now. If you're on the line, our producers are trying to get the technical difficulties done. But if you can, call us back. We'd love to have your question. So
I have a question for you, Jose.
Wait, you're there?
There you go.
There we are.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're here. Welcome.
My name is Joseph Tiarina.
Hey, Jeff.
And I want to ask Jose, what is the difference between summertime activities and fall activities? And I'll listen to the answer on television. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Actually, you know, all our community centers are different. You know, we're one of 7 community centers. In the north side, we actually don't have, like, you know, camp. You know, I know at Ripley House in the neighborhood, we actually have, you know, a summertime program for youth. And actually at the new center, we're trying to identify different ways to provide maybe some summer programming for, you know, maybe doing week kind of mini camps on breakdancing, or we even have poetry, which I haven't talked about yet. So there's a lot of different opportunities. We try to build programming around what the community wants. So it kind of is different at every center because we build on the strengths and on the needs of what the community wants to see. So it's actually being developed right now. You know, but we do have our core programming. So, for example, at Independence Heights, you know, in the summer, we just keep the same schedule that's in the spring and the fall because that's what the community wants to see.
And speaking, if I can throw this in there, I think this summer we're going to start something new at the Leonel Castillo. You're going to have some kind of market?
Yes, actually, you know, just to backtrack just a little bit, we're actually February 8th. We're having our second semester. We started Independence Heights last semester, a partnership with Skills for Living and the UH Bauer School of Business. And actually, it's a 12-week program, and it's 6 weeks actual financial literacy and 6 weeks business planning and incubation. So you get linked up with UH. University of Houston student, and you get consulting services. And at the end, they do a pitch day, which is really great. Last Saturday, we had a business social, and we announced they in partnership with Kiva, which does micro funding, and Bayou Micro Fund, which is a new partner of ours. They awarded 5 zero-interest micro loans to 5 businesses from the program. We had 44 students last semester. We're at 40 right now. It has a $1,500 value in the course, and actually I took half of it last semester. I couldn't finish because we were opening the new center, so I will be finishing this semester, so you'll see me there as well because, I make a modest, nonprofit salary. My fun thing I do is I DJ, so that's my business. I do that for fun, and I enjoy doing that. I get to have an outlet and passion, but that ties into the art and farmers market that we're going to be starting. It starts May 16th. It's a partnership with the Northside Management District, and I know we've been talking about including the chamber in the north side with that, and we're really excited about that because that's going to be a cultivation of not only existing businesses and food trucks, but also the folks that are graduating from our current classes and from the business program. But we also have jewelry, cake decoration classes at our centers as well. So it's a micro enterprise outlet for them as well. So those cupcakes are a hot commodity right now. What's Up Cupcake is one of our vendors at Independence Heights. Just giving them an outlet to learn in a safe place how to start a business, get that support network, and it's a really exciting time because it's intergenerational from youth to our adults because we're actually working with our kids to actually give an outlet for them.
Is this program, Neighborhood Centers, available in different cities? Because I am so jealous. Growing up in Dallas, I wish I would have had a program like this, because it just seems like you nurture individuals from all ages.
Empowering the community.
And I'll tell you, in Dallas, in Oak Cliff, where I was raised, there was nothing for me to do there other than go to school, come home, do my homework, and then do it again the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And, a program like this, to be in a city in Houston, is so beneficial in terms of how it's shaping the city of Houston, and I hope that there's something like this in Dallas and other cities. Can you talk about that a little bit?
There's a lot of great organizations across the country that are doing amazing work. The Y nationally does some real creative outreach programs and different connections, and there's a lot of organizations that have bits and pieces of what we're looking to do. One of the biggest things for us is not, for me as we create programs, as a community developer, we do a lot of different resources and partnerships. But as an agency, we take the approach on building on community strengths. So we take an appreciative inquiry approach in the work that we do. A lot of times, in this kind of work, we tend to focus on what's negative in a community. What is the crime rate in the street, right across the street? What is the dropout rate? But we never focus on a lot of the positive. In the north side, we have a lot of great local businesses. We have a lot of great youth. At Jeff Davis, for example, they have one of the most amazing catering programs in the city. So, we're looking to link up with them. And actually, we're with the youth council and the different groups. We're looking to do a monthly youth cafe. So we have a longer-term vision of starting a student-run youth cafe at the center. So, it's just building on the strengths of the community and giving different outlets. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I was one of those kids. All I had was, I had my instrument. I was a band nerd, I confess. But that led me.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go. And that led me to get into salsa music and my culture. I'm Puerto Rican, so that's what kept me out of trouble. That's the only reason I stayed going to school, and fighting, and in reflection, there was a lot of things stacked against me at the time. So, our goal, sorry, go ahead.
I'm interested in how you mentioned that there's a lot of intergenerational programming. I'm thinking how has that worked for y'all? Because you usually hear that it's programs are age specific. And so that's something different that I hear that you guys are doing. What was the idea behind that, and how has it worked so far?
Well, I mean, we're just in the beginning processes because we're, it's a new Center 1, and we're looking to integrate and get some of those resources that Temple University is partnering up with us with. And it's going good so far. Actually, our first meeting, it was about 35 folks from the Northside community, different stakeholders, partners, community members. And it was great. We had folks from our youngest was 17 and the oldest was 76. They were fighting on who was the oldest. But just an example. I mean, one of the exercises we did was a lifeline. You couldn't talk. You just went where you thought you fit in the lifeline from 17 to 76. And it was just an interesting exercise because you see this full life perspective, and you get perspectives on both ends of the spectrum. So that was really neat. And in that first session, we actually were working to identify, what do you really like in the community? What are some of the challenges in the community? And we even reflected on what are the challenges of what age you're in, and what are the pros and cons. And we got some really neat answers and responses. But the most important thing, we created a dialogue. So we're looking to build off that. So what you're going to see with the Art Farmers Market is a mix of that. Where you're going to see with the different programming as we identify, it's going to be based on what the community and this group is helping cultivate and grow. So I would say we're still in the beginning processes of it, but it's a long-term strategy for us to find creative ways to interconnect our family, our community together. Because youth tend to steer away from the wisdom. I mean, there's so much to be gained. I mean, and with our youth as well, we tend to kind of brush them off and see that oh well, they're just a kid. I mean, there's amazing kids out there. I mean, just in the North Side, just the youth that we've been working with. After we talk about passionate folks, our new youth coordinator, Marlon Lizama, he's been doing a great job of helping us build programs, do outreach. And he comes from an artistic background himself. He's a slam poet. He's part of the Tintero poets that perform at Talento Bilingüe. And he's also a world-renowned break dancer as well. He's part of this Havacoro group that they just celebrated their 15th anniversary. And that group actually has toured over 35 countries doing cultural awareness through the State Department. I mean, those are the kind of folks that we want to bring to our centers. And not even only creative, in the arts, but, we have Rice University. We have a list of 10 to 50 students that want to be involved with the Rice Dream program that was co-founded by Tony Castilleja. I hope I didn't mispronounce the last name, but he's a great partner of ours. He's 25 years old, and he's literally a rocket scientist.
Nice.
And he has a big presence in the East End. He co-founded this group, I think, 5 years ago, and we came across at a Mexican Institute gala that my wife dragged me to. One of the best things I was dragged to, because we're good friends now, and it's a great partnership. And he's working on the next generation space shuttle for NASA.
Nice.
Wow.
So I mean, just bringing that and exposing our kids to things different, and like Jose was saying, the revitalization we're seeing in the North Side. I mean, I was talking to someone today. It is a true renaissance in that neighborhood. We're 3 blocks from the light rail. We're talking about working to get trying to do a field trip and take the kids to go see the Cesar Chavez movie in March, and take them to the museums. I mean, now it's opening a whole door of perspective for our families in the community.
Yeah, I think it's
You guys have created a lot of great programs, and I'm curious how you guys get together in a room, sit and discuss on what programs you guys need to do.
Let's save that answer after this real quick break we're going to take, and we're going to come back and get into real detail of how all the planning and efforts go to making this center a reality. You're watching Latino Talk TV. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're still watching Latino Talk TV, and we're talking with Jose Rivera from the Neighborhood Centers, the Leonel Castillo Center in the north side of Houston. And we had a question that was asked about how does the center actually come up with a programming and tailor it specific to the needs of the community? So Jose, how do y'all do that?
We actually, as an agency, to go back a little bit, I was talking a lot about the center, but I'm part of the department community-based initiatives. So we're the ones that actually do a lot of we're the ones, the face of the centers. We have the tax centers as well. If you don't know, we do free tax preparation at the agency. I think the other Jose, we have a Jose Perez, that's the manager of the tax centers, and we have I think the third largest tax preparations in the country. Sheltering Arms Division that does senior programming, and also Workforce Solutions. If you're not familiar, actually that's a neighborhood centers program as well through the state. So going back to actually how programming is implemented, as a group, as community-based initiatives, we work on what's a neighborhood plan. So we try to strategize in the different houses, if it's infrastructure, health, connection, and we actually strategize along those lines in that approach. And it's either done, one of the good things that one of the amazing things I've seen, working at the agency is the connection piece. How do we leverage community resources and actually bring stuff to the center or do outreach in collaboration? I think that's one of the things that we're able to identify and create programming or support in. Like I said, I talked about a lot of the partners that we work with: Rice, Bauer, Skills for Living. Actually, at our community center, Project Grad is present, and they do a college preparedness program, 9 through 12. Yeah. And we're working in collaboration with different folks to help build on what the strengths are in the community and identify what those niches are for us to go into. So every year we strategize.
Yeah. It's amazing. You guys are like the glue that's tying all these different organizations together. And they all have their specialty. They all focus on certain things, and then you guys bring them in and say, hey, we need your help. Help us develop this neighborhood and improve Houston as a whole. And it just on so many different dimensions, you guys are doing that with education. They talked about tax shelters, helping out businesses. Yeah. It's unbelievable. I didn't know you guys did all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing organization, and it's kind of like a hidden nonprofit gem in the community. We think of a lot of different organizations, and actually Neighborhood Centers is one of the largest agencies in the region. But a lot of and it's neat because we're, the community-based initiatives is a component of that. And, we do a lot of grassroots community development work. I mean, that's what's so exciting about it. And what's fun as well, is really just building those collaborations, building those partnerships. For example, it's unique in every community. In the north side, it was just, for me, it was just exciting to see so many people wanting to work together. And our goal is just to build on what strengths and capacity we could build for that community and work as a whole, because it's not about who takes credit for what. It's about how do we serve the community together to make more capacity. As we know, it's getting harder and harder to get resources. It's harder and harder to get grant funding. So how to really maximize those resources. I think, I talked a little earlier about we have some collaborations even with the Y. We have a Get Fit Club with our teens, and bi-weekly they're going to go and they're going to do a certification at the Y. They're going to learn how to use the fitness equipment, and vice versa. We're looking to do some partnership classes together. It's not about how it's done. It's that it's delivered for our families, and that we use those resources as expanding the opportunity to serve the family as a whole.
As a counselor, I'm interested because I know that there's a lot of mental health services that are usually offered at these types of centers. I'm wondering if that's something that's offered at Leonel Castillo or not.
It's all catered to the centers. As we build capacity, the new community center is space limited, but how as we cultivate it and build partnerships, those are things that we identify and make those connections. One of the things we've been approached is about grieving support groups. I mean,
right.
For example, myself, I'm from I took care of my mom for 2-3 years with my wife, and you know, she passed away from ovarian cancer. So, you know, as I work with families, you know, I understand that different perspective. You know, I was very lucky that, you know, at the time I worked for Congressman Gene Green's office, and I knew, you know, how to contact and how to navigate through processes. But not everybody has that. So how do we create the support system? And again, that's how, you know, the important thing in being a steward of a community center and working in a community. I mean, it comes with great humility and respect, because, you know, how do you build that trust? And going back to what you're saying, you know, we get a lot of people that come in, a lot of families that come in, and at first, you know, hey, I'm just taking a class, and then after a while, it's like extended family is like, well, this is what's going on, and this is what's happening, and, you know, we want to serve, again, back as a connection. So if there's that need, we try to make sure that we partner up to make sure that's delivered with a partner or through ourselves.
What have been your top 3 funnest programs in the lifetime of being in neighborhood centers?
Well,
I know there's a lot.
Well, we enjoyed, actually, Enrique. You know, Enrique actually did our program for a few months. I really enjoyed seeing the kids, you know, taking part in that. I've really enjoyed seeing, I'm really hoping and enjoying seeing the breakdancing grow. But I think the ballet has been an amazing one. Actually, that teacher started at in Independence Heights, and you know, I was having a real rough day. You know, long hours and, you know, a lot of stress sometimes. But, you know, they had I happened to be the one evening they were having a recital, their first recital, and then, you know, the whole center was packed from family members and so forth, with a program that, you know, just started by a volunteer. I mean, what's more rewarding than that? But the business program has been a big one too, just to see the connections we've been able to make. Actually, you know, one of the businesses that won, you know, she was really struggling. She was in our kitchen incubation, and, you know, she was really struggling to get by. And, you know, we worked out a plan. You know, she sponsored a couple of our events. I know she catered one of our board meetings. And one of the things is, like, take this class, and she was the top student in the class. Wow. And she's rejuvenated her business, and nice. we're actually looking to host some chef nights with her. So we'll look out for some date nights, learning a 3-4 course meal, and, you know, and doing different things like that. But that's what it's all about. I think that's what makes nonprofits special, and the work we do special, when you can make that connection. You know, as I tell my team and our staff is you know, we get caught up in the numbers. You know, how many people are we serving? But how many, you know, for example, a teen, you know, it's so quick to label a statistic, but it's so hard to cause a transformation. And that transformation is usually a generational a generational shift that, you know, you've changed a whole trajectory of a family, of a first college graduate, or somebody that's able to start a business. I mean, that's exponential. So, I mean, that's really powerful.
One thing I've realized over time, you never know how you're going to impact someone. Like, it could be a small gesture on a street corner and to a person that you've never met, and it's just it could potentially lead to something life-changing. And when you're at a program like this, and you have a you know, a special program, like, you're changing people's lives, whether, you know, you believe it or not. And it is a beautiful thing. You know, I volunteered at the neighborhood centers for about 3 months with little kids, and it was the funnest time that I've spent in a long time volunteering. But, you know, you get these kids, they're a ball of energy, they're happy, you know, they're just so creative, and just harnessing all that, and just, you know, teaching them and you know, seeing them create stuff. It's just amazing. And it's definitely a beautiful thing, which is, I have a question for you. If someone wants to volunteer for you, how do they do it?
You just give us a call. I know we'll have the number posted, but it's 713-380-2260. And, you know, just call one of our centers, and one of our staff will be happy to take your information. There's an application process. You know, safety of our family is important, so there is a background check process. But, you know, from that, you know, like I said, we've had a lot of volunteer-driven programs, and even last year we had a teen-driven guitar club last year. That was a lot of fun. So it's the limitation is what you set on yourself, and, you know, it's a great thing. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding to be a mentor or to inspire the next. I think that's what really cultivated me to really get passionate about this work. When I first came to Houston, I came here in 2004. I transferred to go to University of Houston. And, before I got my first job at the mayor's anti-gang office, I actually, my wife was working in Gulfton with a group, United Minds. And from that group, I was a mentor, and I had never done that before. I was like, what is a mentor? What am I doing? But, what's exciting, fast forward now, we still have relationships with those kids. We've seen, a few of them finish college. We've seen a few. It's just that impactful kind of thing that just doesn't go away. I mean, that you can't put a price tag on that. So it's definitely very rewarding work. To be a volunteer, to be able to do this line of work, it's very special.
Sure.
Anybody?
I was interested in what you mentioned about Kiva. Kiva is an organization that I particularly have put a lot of interest into.
Yes.
And if you guys don't know at home what Kiva is, it's an organization that gives small business loans. And it started off with just third world countries. Is that right?
Yes.
And how are they partnering with you guys?
They actually linked up to the UH Bauer program. The students that actually finish that course, they are pre-qualified to apply through Kiva. Like I mentioned, the business, it was partly through Kiva, the financing, and through the Bayou Micro Fund, which is new. And actually, we're working with Bayou Micro Fund. I didn't even mention that, but we have Promise Credit Union at our community centers, and we're actually partnering to do some seed money for micro funding to sustain what we're doing with the programs. But that's where the relationship came from, the Bauer School and through the Bio Micro Fund. So I mean, it's a great organization, like you said, and it's so exciting. I mean, people think, oh, $5,000, yeah, to me that's a lot of money. But there's some people that don't think that's a big deal. But just seeing those business owners and the pride and excitement, and they're going to be in the Mercado del North side as well, so that's even better. But, it's just a full cultivation of support, and, it's just an exciting thing just to get our families to realize that, you could take this chance and take this opportunity, and even if it's not your primary income like myself, I do pretty good secondary income, doing the DJing and enjoying what I do. It's a very fun thing, and like you said, they're all around the world, and we're real lucky to have that partnership at our community center and neighborhood centers.
The nice thing about Kiva is that you can go in and look at different profiles, and you can choose who you lend money to, and they'll give that money back, and you could relend it or take it if you'd like. So you can also keep track of how they're doing with their business as well as how they're doing with their repayments. And so I've taken an interest because I love to see the small businesses in third world countries, but there's these folks that will have like kind of these arcade types, and they'll have like Xboxes and PlayStations, and they'll rent them out to little kids around the neighborhood. And so I've funded some of those projects because that just seems kind of fun, and different. But that's kind of how I got into Kiva, just listening to the concept of it and agreeing with it. I think it's a really nice, awesome thing that you guys are partnering with them.
No, we're really lucky, and it is crowdfunding. So I mean, that's what's neat about it. Actually, Lemon Delight, is the business that one of the businesses that got it, and then it's through Kiva, and it's just great seeing their profile and seeing their story. I mean, I remember when they first came to our community center, it was like, we need a space to figure out this concept to sell at market, and just to see that develop and hoping to cultivate the next. I mean, because it's going to be a ongoing thing. We're definitely committed to the growth of this program, and again, providing alternative programming and giving the opportunity, because our families have the tools. It's just unlocking that.
Sure.
So just a quick recap: the center's name is the Leonel J. Castillo Community Center. It is located at 2101 South Street, Houston, Texas 77009. If you're from Houston, if you're going 45 north, when you pass up I-10, it is a beautiful building on the right-hand side on the hill when you're passing the Quitman Bridge. Or if you go exit North Main, make a U-turn, exit Quitman, and it's right on the right-hand side. It's a beautiful place. You can actually rent bicycles there. You can, if you haven't been out there in the evening, the view is just tremendous. I invite everyone to go visit that center. Become a member. It's a nonprofit organization. It needs your support. The community needs your support, not only financially, but if you have a certain program you think will be very special for the community, call Jose. You can reach him at 713-380-2260. That's 713-380-2260. And I hope you enjoyed the show, Jose. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You know, and really excited to be able to be here and talk a little bit about the great work that the community is doing for the revitalization of the new community center. And we hope this Friday we're actually having a youth social, but it's open to the public. We're going to have some breakdancing demos. Rice University is going to be there. I'll actually be playing some music myself. So it'll be a great time from 6 to 8. At the Leonel Castillo Community Center, 2101 South Street. So we look forward to, you know, if you're interested, that's a great time to come, and you get to meet all the amazing folks that are working in the community to transform what we call what we like our slogan, transforming communities for good. So thank you.
You know, what I see is like the neighborhood center is giving the north side and all the other communities a big hug. And that's kind of a lead in to something that was done very special over the weekend. I want to let my good friend Robinson Arteaga talk about the Hug Fest you had. Tell me about what you did.
January 21st is National Hugging Day. And so what I did is I decided to take a team of huggers to downtown Houston and pass out and hug it out everywhere in downtown. So we had a great time and just passing out hugs to complete strangers. But we talked about, I was giving out some information about some of the benefits of hugs, and I think it's a good way to tell our community about some of the benefits, like psychological benefits, such as we increase the trust with the person that we're hugging. It increases oxytocin, which is also known as the love chemical, which strengthens bonds, and it also helps stimulate white blood cells, which helps the immune system. And so we went out to kind of tell the community about that.
Hug him.
And we'll hug it out right now. Show. Stimulate his blood cells, but you can go see more info about Hugging Day at 3sessions.com.
The Jose's like,
I'll pass up on the hug. My wife's waiting for me to give me a hug in the back.
But you can go get some more info about that at 3sessions.com, and you'll see more info and some pictures. And we'll have some a quick video that Ariana from Houston Media Source did right here on this channel, so you guys can go check out how we went out there and hugged people.
And on that note, thank you for hugging on with us so long for an hour. That was a bad lead-in. But anyways, in all seriousness, please participate in the neighborhood centers. They need your help, especially the Leonel Castillo Center and the Independence Heights Center. If you got that program, please join us. We need your help. We need your support. And on that note, thank you so much for watching Latino Talk TV. Have a great night.
Hug it out.